Hi, it's Alaska Granny. Today I wanted to share with you 7 tips to build an emergency food storage. We know that it's important that we have foods in our home, that we know how we can rely on ourselves and provide the things we need. Historically, people always would grow food in the summer, harvest it, put some away for winter. It's just a natural flow of life. Our society has gotten away from that with people are doing this just-in-time shopping or drive-through dining because they don't have anything available to serve their family. Well, there are a lot of reasons why that it's a good idea to go back to having some food on hand. We never know when we might lose our job or run out of money before we run out of month. We don't know when there could be some kind of an emergency like the pandemic when we needed to stay home. Then you were reliant on what you had, or you had to brave going out in unknown circumstances. Nobody was comfortable going out to hunt for food during a medical emergency and a time when we were very scared about what that could mean. We've also all suffered through things like power outages, winter storms, hurricanes, tornadoes. There's all kinds of reasons there could be interruptions in your ability to just get to the store or the store being available. So we don't have to be a victim to emergencies if we plan ahead. So the first thing you should do is set some goals. How many days would you like to have some food available for your family? It could be a few days, it could be a few weeks, a few months, even an entire year. But wherever you are, start your goal from where you are and build from there. Then you want to set a budget. How much can you afford to add to this food stockpile? The way to be successful and achieve your goals is to set them and work towards them. And so setting a budget helps you meet that goal. And maybe you're already in a predicament where times are hard. You maybe don't have the income you had, or prices have gone up so much it's very difficult to add to that food stockpile. But you can then still put $1 away, one item at a time, every time you go to the store. Just get one more item, and before you know it, you'll have a lot. And if you have some extra money, plan it strategically so that you can really meet these prepping goals. Make water a priority, because in any emergency situation, no matter what it is, we need fresh drinking water. You can buy some bottled water, you can refill all kinds of containers with your own water. If water is safe coming out of your faucet, it's safe to put into a clean container. Never put it in a container that held anything except food though. And you don't want to use something like just a milk jug, because those are containers that are very difficult to really get clean. They're not sturdy, they're not designed to last. Think of something at least like a pop bottle. Those are designed for heavy duty and they can last a long time. But you do want to make sure that you get some of those aromas out, because you don't want to go to your water storage and find out everything smells like root beer. That's okay for water you might want to use for cleaning, but it may not be for water that you want to mix with, say, powdered milk or just to have to drink. So that's one of the things to think about. Try to stick with containers that are sturdy and make sure that they're spotlessly clean before you try to fill them up. Next, stock up on some foods that are ready to eat. You want to start with the just basic foods that you could open and eat it. You don't have to do any preparation, no cooking at all. It can be peanut butter and crackers. It can be cans of food. It can be granola bars, nut mixes, trail mixes. Foods that you could just open and eat it and you don't have to do any cooking at all. Then you want to add some pantry foods, canned foods, packaged foods, things that you could easily combine together to make into some simple meals. Cans of chili, ravioli, boxes of mac and cheese, pastas and sauces. All the simple day-to-day meals that you could open and make a meal in a few moments. And those are great foods to have on hand. They're not very expensive. They can last for several years. And they're just simple to pull out and make a meal. A lot of them don't require any other ingredients. But if you do buy something that does require something specific, like eggs or milk, make sure that you are going to be able to make that food, that you will have eggs and milk in your refrigerator, or maybe some powdered eggs and milk in your pantry. Then you want to expand your stockpile into the longest lasting foods, foods that can last for years. Rice, beans, oatmeal, pasta, Dried powdered milk, honey, even popcorn can last for decades. You can buy those foods already in a container that's airtight to last, or you can buy that food, store it into clean jars, clean bottles, clean containers, put on the lid and put it away. You can even store some of that food in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers and into 5-gallon buckets. There are many different ways to do it. There's no one right way. There isn't even any one right food. There are foods that last longer. Find the ones that you like, that you're willing to cook and prepare. You know what they are, how to use them, and you're willing to serve them. Then do your best to store them the best you can. What you don't want to do is just buy them at the store and bring them home and put them in the pantry, because you want to store the foods as airtight as possible in a cool, dark, dry place. The better you store your foods, the longer it lasts. So do the best you can, and if you don't have any special gizmos, gadgets, or containers, you can still buy that food, and then perhaps down the road you'll be able to expand on better containers, better conditions. But it's important to have some of that food and make the best of it while you can. So always be thinking about ways to expand your food stockpile. Try new foods. If you see something you've never tried before and it looks interesting, buy one, take it home and try it. It might become a new favorite. Or figure out foods maybe you bought you don't really like that much. Is there a way you can disguise it, mix it in with some other food you have in your pantry and change the flavor, the texture, and yeah. There's different things we need to do. I remember making meatloaf and my kids were like, we don't like meatloaf. And so I cut it up into pasta and told them it was meatballs. Now, they weren't really convinced, but they did eat a little more of it. So there are just certain ways that we do things to try to get that food going. Don't waste any food. Try to use all of your food and not waste it. If the world goes completely SHTF, perhaps you want to have some seeds so you can be self-sufficient. It's highly unlikely there will never be any food available, but it may become foods we don't like, foods we don't want, or foods we can't afford. And so we want to take every opportunity we can to grow some of our own food, to be responsible to ourselves that we can provide. Maybe you have a windowsill and you can put some little pots on the windowsill and grow some food. Maybe you want to do sprouting. All you need is a little room on your kitchen counter and you can sprout some seeds. Have something fresh to eat. I'll put a link to a video I made about how simple it is to sprout some seeds so that you have something fresh to go into your meals. And then if you have the space to garden, learn how to do that too. Nobody learns to be a successful gardener 100% overnight. It's a learning curve. I've been doing it for decades and I still have challenges because we're still reliant on the weather, on droughts, on heat, on cold. There are just some quirky things that happen, insect invasions, and we may not be able to always be as successful as we want. The point is to keep trying and learn more and produce as much as we can. Think about some of the longer lasting fresh foods. Foods that you can buy fresh in the store and they will last longer. Foods like berries just don't last, but you could choose winter squash. They are designed to last a long time. That's why they call them winter squash. You grow them in the summer, but if you store them cool, dark, dry, you can get them to last through the winter. Think about potatoes, onions, even apples. There are ways to help those foods to store longer. Think about some of those options as longer lasting fresh foods. Finally, you want to use some of your foods, rotate and replace it. That's the way that you continue to have the freshest foods. Just simple canned foods, packaged foods, they're not going to last forever, like say rice and beans that are in a number 10 can or a 5-gallon bucket. But you can make those foods last longer by the utilization of them. That's why you want to store foods that you're willing to eat. Say you buy some cans of chili, then you need to eat some chili. Then you need to buy some more and you rotate the food. You put the new chili at the back, push the other cans ahead so that you're rotating through it. And the longest lasting chili is at the back of the pantry, so it's going to give you an extra lifespan into your food storage stockpile. First in, first out, just like they do at the grocery store, or they're at least supposed to. So when you're shopping, look over the foods, make sure there's no dents in the can, nothing looks weird, nothing is spilled or icky, nothing looks infested on the shelves even. Look for little any kind of suspicious thing in the store before you bring something home. Sometimes we get in a hurry and we forget to really look over the food. Make sure you look at the dates on the packages and make sure that you're looking even through the shelf and make sure you're choosing the ones with the longest out there date, because the farther out the date, the longer your food's going to last. Then pay attention to those dates. Try to use the food within a reasonable amount of time. But the date on the food is a best by, use by, sell by, not an expiration date. And many packaged pantry foods will last long past that date. Not always, so we do need to be cognizant of what is that date and then be prepared to utilize that food in as reasonable amount of time as possible. I've made lots of videos about foods that I opened that were past their expiration date, and almost always they were good to eat, but not always. So you want to make sure that you inspect it. And so if you have an outdated food, you want to look it over for anything that's suspicious. Make sure nothing is bloating. You want to open it, make sure nothing spurts. Then you want to look, see, does it look okay? Does it smell okay? Then maybe you can taste it and maybe it's going to be just fine. Likely it's going to be just fine and you'll be certainly able to use it. Try these 7 tips to build a food storage stockpile. If you have additional tips, leave it in the comments below so we can learn from each other, be able to build up our stockpile of food, our prepper pantry, and then we'll be able to have the best outcome, whatever challenge faces us in the future. And you know what? If nothing happens, it doesn't matter. We can still eat that food. So you haven't wasted your time or your efforts or your money because you're buying things that you're really willing to use. I hope you'll like my video, share my video with someone else you think might find it useful. Please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.